What's going on YouTube? What's Toppy's RC? So today we are back with this part 3 of the SAPAC L-39. So in this part we are going to get the yellow painted on the tips, rudder, elevator, and bottom half of the wingtip tanks. And that will complete the paint job on this aircraft. And then we can go ahead and take all the tape off, start with the decals, and get to reassembling this thing. New battery tray, rewiring it, cleaning it all up. Sorry, making it look nice. So, we are going to go ahead and, of course, use some of this. I want to try this as some new Scotch painter's tape. So, supposed to be better for getting clean lines. So, we're going to try it. So, I picked it up. We're going to try some of that. Of course, using wrapping paper again to tape the whole airplane off because we have to tape everything off completely. And we will be using some of this Rust-Oleum yellow, sunburst yellow. So we're going to be using this yellow for the tips of the elevator, rudder, and bottom of the wingtips, and of course, tip of the nose. So I'm going to go ahead and set the GoPro up on the time lapse, and we are going to start taping this aircraft off and getting it ready for the yellow. So enjoy the time lapse. So taping off the aircraft here, make sure when you are taping off your airplane, I like to do my first tape layer and push the edges down really good and secured. That way you don't get no bleed through. And then I'm just coming along with the wrapping paper, taping all my edges perfectly so no overspray can get through the little seams because it will find every little crevice that it wants to go through. Make sure you have everything taped off perfectly because you don't want overspray on stuff that you don't want overspray on. We just go along, tape it all off. Get ready for the yellow tips that we are doing on the rudder. Same with the wing, taping everything off, pushing down really good and solid on our seam lines because we want a nice crisp paint line and we don't want overspray in there. This literally took me about an hour to do. It was tedious, long, but well worth it in the end. Okay, so what only took you guys about 45 seconds to watch took me about an hour. But anyways, it is wrapped up. It is ready for the last bit of paint. Of course, like always, we have to wipe everything down with some alcohol and a microfiber rag. Make sure we got all fingerprints, any grease, anything. The key to a great paint job is a clean, prepped surface. Your paint job is only going to look as good as the surface you're painting. If you have oily from your fingerprints, you have dust on it, you have dirt on it, you have residue on them, paint's not going to stick good, it's not going to look good, and you're not going to get a quality paint job. Sanding, body work, prep is everything. The more sanding you do, the more prep you do, the better of a paint job you will get. And that's how we got a great paint job on this airplane. A lot of sanding and a lot of prep work. But now we are taped off for the last time, ready to spray the yellow. And I have the yellow right here. Again, it is going to be sunburst yellow. So we're going to shake this up and get the yellow painted, untape everything, unwrap our little Christmas gift. So we got the yellow painted. And we got it all untaped, a little Christmas gift that we wrapped up. So the tips are yellow, top and bottom. The rudder, both sides are yellow. Same with the other elevator. And the nose is yellow. As well as the wingtips, the bottoms of the wingtips are yellow. So the paint job is complete now. It's 100%, all the paint work is done. So now we have to do the decals. So like the one-of-a-kind Spitfire, I have my wife on Procreate. She makes all the decals. So she is designing the decals right now. And then we will start with the decal work, which are very simple. Very simple decals on this airplane. Couple on the wings, the rudder, couple numbers, the little lion that goes on the nose, and all the paint work and paint scheme itself is done. So then we can start with the reassembly. So what do we have to do? So we have to add all the servos again, exception of the elevator. That servo is still installed, but we are going to upgrade the servos to some free wing digital 9-gram metal gear. Great servos, great price. We want good control on this aircraft, so we're going to do that. We are keeping the stock power system. It is the SAPAC MB1 motor with the SAPAC 5-blade. We got everything untaped. So now we get to start with the inside and prettifying this airplane and cleaning it up. So we're going to go ahead and design on my laser a brand new battery tray to go in here. We're going to lower the battery tray down so we can fit 6 SAPACs if need be in the future whenever Ed decides that he wants more power, which I've been trying to tell him he needs. But we are going to mount the air filler valve. So we'll go ahead and design a hole in the laser, you know, in the thing in the software when we build the tray. Put the valve in, get that all secured. We're going to go ahead and rewire this receiver, make everything pretty, get rid of all these connections that we don't need. If we don't need extensions, they don't need to be there. They got to go. Another point of failure, not my cup of tea. So we are running the AR6220 receiver. These receivers are fantastic. The 6220s and the AR410s are incredible little receivers. Small, antenna-less, lightweight, great price. Never had problems with them. And then we are going to replace all the airlines. So I have a brand new tube of row-barred airlines. We're just going to replace everything and get this aircraft ready to fly in the next couple of weeks. So I'm going to get to work on cutting all this tray out, getting this going, and getting ready for the new battery tray and receiver placement. All right, so we got the new battery tray put in. I just went ahead and cut this out on my laser. Did it in the Lightburn software, designed just a simple tray, and I wanted to engrave SAPAC L-39. I ended up cutting it, but it is what it is. So I put some battery straps in now. The tray is secured, ran all the wires under the tray, secured them. We got the receiver remounted and through the hole that I put in the tray. So now we have this hose. So this is the fill line for the air because these retracts are pneumatic, SAPAC micro pneumatics. So we have an air line here. So we are going to redo this air line because it is brittle. So I'm going to run a new line to the valve. And then we have a filler valve, which is this guy here. So this is the top and the bottom. I need to find a metric nut to fit this side, but I'm just gonna build a simple little bracket that'll hold the valve somewhere back in here, something accessible, something easy. I haven't figured it out, but I'm just gonna build me out of some 1/8 inch plywood, simple tray to glue to the side of the fuselage that this will secure to, so that way when Ed is filling up his retracts, I can't do it one-handed, but he can unscrew the bottom part, stays in the airplane, the top part stays onto your air compressor. So now I completely disassembled the retracts. I don't want to scratch the airplane. So I disassembled the retracts and I have the wire. They're all old, got some rust on them. So I'm gonna wire wheel these down and just give them a nice fresh coat of flat black paint, just to look clean. And then we have some new 1.5 inch tail wheels coming to put on the main gear. The nose wheel already has a 1.5 inch tail wheel on it. It's a nice rubber aluminum hub. So we're gonna get these painted and then we're going to make this tray. And then we can start on the decals. My wife is almost finished with them. So as soon as she's done, we'll put them in the cutter, cut them all out, and we'll start throwing the decals on this thing. And waiting on 3 new servos to come in, running the free wing digital Metal Gear servos, elevator ailerons. So once those get here, I can start running the servos and all the new wires from the tail forward. Get this thing back on its gear, and we got to put a canopy latch in, which is one of the next projects. We are going to be using just a normal, regular plastic latch, which I don't know where it is. So I can't show you guys yet, but I'll find it in a minute and then show you what it is. But we're just running a regular latch, so I need to cut. I'll show you guys how to do that, simple and easy. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these painted and get this bracket. I know I said we were gonna start making the air valve holder to go here for the retracts, this little guy right here that we just talked about. But my wife just finished up the decals, so I figured let's go ahead and just give this a completed look. So we have all the decals we need here. There is white on there. It's hard to see. You'll see it when it's on the airplane. But we got 6 of those because there's gonna be 1 on each side of the wing, top and bottom, so that's 4, and then 1 on each side of the rudder. We have the lion to go on the nose, which is really hard to see with all this. And then we have, of course, Air Force. We have the numbers over here somewhere. We have the Arrow L-39 in here. So everything's on transfer tape, ready to be stuck down and then peeled. So I'm gonna go ahead, separate everything, pull up the picture on my phone so I can see what goes where. And we'll start probably with the lion and then work our way back. We got all the decals put down. I think they came out really good. Huge thank you to my wife for making these. She does a great job. But we got the line down, we got all the flags, we got the numbers on both sides, of course. Let's spin the airplane around here. So This is basically a completed look of it. Paint work is done, as well as the decal work is done. So now it is time to paint the wire gear for the retracts, get those put back in, run new air lines, as I said earlier, and make a little plate to mount the fill valve. So that's what we're going to work on now, making a plate for the fill valve, get that done, run new lines, and then we can flip it over and go ahead and reinstall the retracts. But I am super happy with the way it came out. It came out fantastic. Paint came out great. Decals came out great. As close to the picture as I could get it. So now let's go make a tray and get this air valve mounted. All right, so we got the gear painted black. Just wire wheeled them down, flat black spray paint, just to give them a nice clean look. I would really love to put struts on this model. I know Ed, who owns it now, he would love to put struts on this model. Unfortunately, I can't find any SAPAC struts, so if any of you have a set of SAPAC struts that you would like to sell, please let me know. Comment in the comment section. I'll send you or send me an email, something. Let me know if you have a set, because we are looking for them. But for the time being, we'll just use the regular bent up wire gear. So with any SAPAC airplane, you have to use the micro pneumatic retracts. These retracts are super thin, very small retracts. And this is all that will fit inside the wing. Now in the fuselage, you have plenty of room, but in the wing, this is about it. So something that drives me nuts, and this applies to any airplane, doesn't matter the manufacturer, what brand the parts are, it applies to all of them. So I see everybody. All right, so now we're gonna set this as the left retract, okay? So I see, you're just gonna run this wire down in here and it'll bottom out here. It's hard to see, but so we're gonna set it to about here. Now, everybody just runs the set screw in. So you have a little set screw right here. So now I see people just tighten this set screw and they leave it and it goes on their day. And then you'll see the airplane walking down the runway like this, dog walking, chewing up tires. It doesn't taxi straight. It lands and goes one way or the other way. It's something that really, really drives me nuts. It's something that's such a simple detail that almost everybody overlooks. So the way what I do now is I put my wire in and I look at where my strut is. So now I'm gonna eyeball this pretty much straight, dead straight. And then I wanna do a touch of toe in. So with this airplane, this is going to be the right gear. So we're straight here, and I'm going to give it just a touch of toe in. And what that's going to do is if you're running down the runway and one wing lifts, instead of the aircraft pulling off left or right, the wheel that's on the ground is going to go inwards. So for example, if your left wing comes off the ground first, your right wheel's on the ground, this wheel is going to drive the airplane this way, so it's going to fight it and bring it into your straight line still. So if you have a wing up or down, it's still going to travel straight down the runway. If you have toe out or even a neutral toe on the landing gear, if one wing lifts, the aircraft's going to dart to that way because of the wind pulling the airplane, so it's not going to be able to counter it on its own. Something really small but can make your landings and takeoffs so much better. So now I'm going to run this set screw down and snug it up. Now remember, I do have toe in. I set this already. We can see just a tiny bit of toe in on the gear. Now I'm going to set this set screw all the way down and tighten it up. No Loctite yet. Okay, I'm snug down. Now most people would just leave this, but not me. So now I know I have a visual marker of where the gear goes in, and I'm going to pull this out. And now I see exactly where it marked. I don't know if you can see this. Okay, you see where it marked it right there. Now notice there's no flat spot. So now what happens? So you can tighten that as tight as you want. You can run as much Loctite in here as you want. But the problem is, sooner or later, it's going to slip. It's going to spin. Your wheels are going to go crazy. So it's simple as putting a flat spot. You can use a file. I use a Dremel with a cutoff wheel. Turn it down so it's not super loud. And I will see that. Okay, my flat spot is added. Something so simple. So my flat spot's added. Now I gotta grab the gear that I was just working on, which is, oh shit, which one? This one. So now I'm going to run this back in. I wasn't using this one, I was using this one. I don't even know what I'm doing right now. So, okay, now I'm gonna run this back in. I'm gonna set the gear to where I had it. So now I know, which you still can't see, but inside here I can see where the top of the wire is. So now, that set screw, I'm gonna pull the set screw completely out and lock tight. Now remember, lock tight everything. It is important. I don't know about you, but I personally hate going to the runway and having a landing gear fall apart. And if you've been in this hobby long enough, you will know that these Retracts set screws come out all the time. Not so much on higher end gear because they are already Loctited from the factory, but now I can see my flat spot perfectly. I don't know if you can see that. There you go. I see my flat spot. I got a little bit of Loctite on my set screw, blue Loctite, and then when I run this down, I'm gonna tighten this up. Perfect. Now my gear is exactly how I wanted it. I have my little bit of toe in, and we are good to go. So now I'm gonna go through, and I've already pulled, focus camera. Dang it, it won't focus. But I'm gonna go, I already went ahead and pulled these screws out one by one, and I ran Loctite onto each of these screws. There we go. So I pulled each one of these screws out one by one and put me a drop of blue Loctite and Loctited everything down. I re-oiled these seals as these are pneumatic, so I re-oiled everything. So now I like to do that with all my Retracts. I pull them completely apart, Loctite all the screws, Loctite and grind flat spots, and I never have gear issues. So just a simple little trick. So hopefully that helps some of you guys. If you had any question, I'm gonna get these done off camera because it's gonna take a little bit longer, and then we will get to installing them in the wing. All right, so now we got the gear all reassembled, flat spots put in all the wire, Loctited everything. So our right main is done. I went ahead and oiled everything, cleaned it real good, so the gear should have zero problems. These are spring air, so air up, spring down. These are awesome little gear. And then the nose wheel is back together, re-Loctited. So this is a Sullivan 1.5 inch tail wheel, and it's the perfect size. So we went ahead and ordered 2 more for the mains because they come with foam and they get torn up after a while. The left gear is done. Again, wire painted flat black, flat spots, Loctited everything, oiled all the seals. So now these should be here, I think tomorrow, the new main wheels. So I'll go ahead and get those installed, put flat spots for the collars, and we can start running air lines and getting the gear put in the wing. So we got the little air valve mounted. So we just used some 1/8 inch plywood, made a little 90 here, nice little curved piece, drilled it, mounted the air valve, tightened with a nut on the back side, then ran a new line up and down and inside. So that is done. So now this, of course, is the other end of the air valve. We'll screw into here. This run to the compressor. We ended up getting, of course, the nose wheel done, as you've seen, and we got the main gear. Our wheels did come in. These are Sullivan 1.5 inch tail wheels. They work perfectly. I had to drill them out to fit the shaft or 2.5 millimeter bit, but these are the tail wheels. 1.5 inch 38.1 millimeter tail wheels. Great tail wheels, and they fit the SAPAC perfect. So if any of you have a SAPAC T45, L-39, any of them, Viper, these wheels are great. The stock foam ones are crap. These are solid rubber, aluminum hubbed. Great tail wheels. So now we got that done. It is time to mount the gear, run all the lines. But I'm gonna go ahead and end off part 3 here. The video is already long enough. So in part 4, we will completely finish this thing up 100%, get the gear done, all new airlines in the wing, servos mounted. We're still waiting on the servos. So those should be here in a couple days. Get the servos mounted, get everything finished up, and get ready for the maiden flight on this thing. But here's another overview of it. I think it came out pretty good. I'm very happy with it. The decal work, paint work, everything came out great. Came out fantastic. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Take care. Have a great day.